everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. This is going to be a really interesting hour. Just a little bit about me. I'm a recording artist. I've released 5 solo albums so far, and the last 3 was independently released. And through that process, I learned so much about what it is and how does it work. And of course, it's all trial and error. I had no idea what I was doing, but that was the fun part of it. And that's how I created some of these online presentations, just to help you how to get over these fears and doubting feelings. And I just wanted to share that with the slide presentation. I'll just jump right in. So listening to your inner voice, how to practice efficiently for optimum performance. True or false? How many of you heard this? 10,000 hours practice and you become an expert, right? Everybody, most of us have heard this. And it's by an author named Malcolm Gladwell on his Outlier book. And basically, he's saying, in general, I'm just paraphrasing, that to become an expert, you need to have put in 10,000 hours of practice. So let's break that down. So we know a lot about practicing. You know, out of the 10,000 hours, if you break it down, that becomes like 3 hours a day, which is pretty normal for us. And that's like 365 days a year. And that equates to about 9 years to become an expert, according to Malcolm Gladwell. So then, in reality, really, do we really practice all 3 hours? Like, you know, sometimes we start practicing, we get interrupted, we look at our phone, and then sometimes, like, you feel tired because you're practicing after lunch and you want to take a nap, or, you know, for a variety of things. That 3 hours really isn't 3 hours, right? And sometimes maybe you're feeling down about yourself, like, oh, why didn't I do that? Things like that. So that's, you know, all in the 3 hours. But the new Princeton study shows that on deliberate practice, researchers found that practice counted for just a fraction of difference in performance in various domains. So in case, you know, like games, it made a 26% difference. In music, which is what we're interested in, it only made 21% difference. And in sports, 18% difference, education, 4% difference, professionals, so on and so forth. Then what? You put in all those practice hours and only 21% makes a difference? So then what is all this rest of this pie? So then here, this is where I really want to get into. It's the mindset. So 21% is the actual technical things that you put you practice your scales and all the technical stuff that you need to have as a groundwork. But the rest of the part of being a musician, a performer, it really comes down to your mindset, right? You know, being like having that I can do it, that self-esteem, and that having that confidence of being fearless. If you have this kind of mindset, you're practicing, the 21% actually makes a huge difference because you know you did the work. So your mindset creates the result, right? So how can I get there? I'm going to give you 5 tips on building a strong foundation to maximize your performance outcome. So number 1, I think everybody needs to create a daily goal, like a checklist. You know, for young students, maybe they can't practice 3-4 hours. So even if for 1 hour, you need to create a timeline. So let's stop and re-examine how you practice. Like, what do you actually do in the frame of time that you put aside to practice? So you have to imagine like you are a CEO of a company. You're not going to show up as a CEO of a company and just like, oh, whatever, you know, and then the whole day goes by, and then weeks go by, and then months go by, and then what do you have at the end of the month? So you really have to put on this business mindset, like, okay, what do I want to accomplish right now, today? So you need to have a really clear checklist of what you want to do. And then also break down and make clear daily practice goals checklists and stick to the plan, you know. Even if you have to go and chat on the phone or talk to somebody or, you know, check some internet, make sure you stick to the plan and complete it before you put away the instrument. And create these mini syllabus for yourself for each hour, each day, each week. In a way, you have to become your own teacher. Imagine that you're your own student, you have to teach yourself, and what are you going to do? You're not just going to waste away 1 hour or 2 hours, 3 hours. You're going to make sure that your student does these work, right? So in music, there are no shortcuts. You just have to do it, and you have to practice being your word, meaning If I say I'm going to do this, I do it. As an integrity part of it, in the beginning, we all have to practice skills. It's like learning ABCs. You can't play these Mozart, Francais, Weber concertos without putting in the fundamental, which is the scales and arpeggios and Behrman and Longinus, Closet, Vad Mecum is a wonderful study that you could do to practice your fingers, and as well as the Jean-Jean. And so you see my point in the integrity of having a complete practice is making sure you cover all areas of your learning. And you have to hold yourself accountable. Accountability means, well, okay, you're not going to have somebody going, did you do this? Did you do that? If you could hold yourself accountable, that is like number one best way to really improve, right? So let's keep going. And practice slowly. Practice slowly. Magnify each note, right? It's like a baby. The babies are not going to all of a sudden start running without learning to crawl and walk. And this is a very basic example. You have to use the metronome, right? And I call this king and queen tips of learning how to play better in anything, really. In sports especially too. You have to practice slowly, and you have to magnify the notes, see where the problem is, and figure out that section, and then put it together, and then repeat that and reflect. It's a really good idea for you to like record yourself, which a lot of kids are doing these days, because if you could teach yourself every day to improve, keep going, I think that's gonna really help you to improve really fast. So number two, I think everybody should stop practicing out of guilt. Like, how many people do that? Oh my God, I didn't practice yesterday, so I had to practice today. Or, oh my God, I didn't practice, So we pull out our instrument because we feel so guilty. And so this really builds bad habit. Because if you're mindlessly practicing without a goal, without a clear intention in the hour or the hours that you're practicing, this really builds bad habit. Back of your mind, you're kind of like resenting, like, oh, why am I doing this? And you kind of lose that enthusiasm for why you like the instrument in the first place. So if that happens, take a break. Don't feel guilty. Just take a clean break, right? Don't practice for a week even. And listen to other instruments. I learned so much. I rarely listened to clarinet music really growing up. I listened to so many I love the violin. I listened to my first instrument was piano, so I love listening to all the piano recordings. And not only classical, but like you could listen to jazz, you could listen to pop, R&B. You could learn so much from other genres of music, not only in classical. In fact, this is how you're going to really branch out and become more creative in your practice. Or take on a new hobby, right? Film editing these days. Everybody has to become a film director these days. Learn how to do some software. Go out and start taking really cool photographs. It's about getting your mind interested in other things that in turn will get you interested in what you're doing with your clarinet and music. And improvement doesn't only happen chained to the instrument, right? It happens out there in the real world, right? And so life experiences really help you understand your music better, okay? And this is like same for composers, artists, the masters of our past, artists, writers, they all reflect the life that they live, right? Picasso, Van Gogh, and the more real and the more connected they are with their own life, it's like becomes so unique and so eye-catching and compelling that people have exhibitions about that. And practice, remember this, practice does not equal perfection. I think people should screenshot this and put it on the wall. Practice does not equal perfection. Practice equals permanent. You know what I mean? Yeah? So it's also like practicing the mindset becomes permanent. When we just talked about like practicing out of guilt, if you're practicing that, feeling guilty or feeling like, oh my God, I should be doing something, that becomes permanent in your mind. And that's what you're gonna get good at, being defensive, being sorry for yourself. So I'm just going to share a quick little story about I went to undergraduate at Eastman School of Music, studied with Charlie Neidig, and went to Yale School of Music for my graduate school and studied with David Schifrin. And before going into Eastman School of Music, my father played the clarinet. He taught me, but he wasn't musically trained. We were an immigrant family, so we weren't like really classically involved. Like I didn't know anything about theory. I was very fortunate enough to be in Chicago to study with some of these amazing teachers, graduate students from Northwestern. My first teacher was Laurie DeLuca, and then Jean Brussier, and then I got to meet Larry Combs. So growing up in Chicago, I had this really great lineage of being around some amazing teachers. So that was fine. And then I go to Eastman, I'm looking around and I feel like everybody's so great. Everybody sounds so great. And they're all talking about Interlochen. They went to a summer festival. I'm like, what's that? I had no idea. So from the get-go, although I had really good intention of like doing my best, I kept comparing myself to other people, like what I'm not good at, right? And talking about theory, I was so bad at theory. And this is the part that a lot of classical musicians trap into. It's because we're always trying to be better. We're always looking at the parts that are missing, like what's wrong, right? Rather than, having that balance. And so therefore, what did I do? All I could do was practice, right? Practice was something that I could control, like how to get better on my instrument. But then the more I practice, and then, our teachers tell us to listen to ourselves. And so the more I listen to myself, the more I feel like, oh my God, this is what I'm missing, and feel like very outside and didn't belong. The gap of that, the shortfall, I saw bigger and bigger and bigger. So I got so stuck on perfection. It just got me to excel to a certain point, because you got to have that drive to get better. But at a certain point, even after I got full scholarship to Yale School of Music study with David Schifrin, in the back of my head, I was never good enough. How come I can't do this on stage? Like I got so scared of playing a concert because I knew I was gonna miss this. I was gonna squeak, or something always went wrong. And so I got so stuck on perfection. So eventually, make the long story short, I quit music. This is what happened to my clarinet. I turned it into a lamp. And life is really long, and again, I'm much older than most of you, so I'm just sharing a glimpse of what my life was like as a clarinetist. My first job, actually, I won a principal clarinet position in one of the orchestras in Seoul, Korea. That's where I'm from. Well, I was born, but I was brought up in Chicago since I was 9. I won one of these jobs that everybody's wanting. I practiced those excerpts, and I finally won. But then I realized, oh my God, month and a half, 2 months into the job, I realized, oh my God, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. It's just, I feel like I want to be outside. I'm a different personality. I knew this wasn't quite fitting with my personality. I didn't know at the time, but just something was off. So I only lasted for 2 years. And then that's when I really quit and just came back to the US. And that's when everything stopped for music in a way, like professionally performing. I got married and started having kids, and then you get involved with different parts of your life. Things come at you, and I got involved with golf, and I became so good at golf really fast. And people say golf is really hard, and so I started taking lessons from the beginning with a really good teacher, because I knew it was a bit like learning an instrument. Knowing how I played the clarinet and the piano and all that, it's about reflecting, what did I do wrong? I videotaped my swing every day, and then I analyzed it, right? What did I do? And then the golf coach thought I was just like, what, where did this woman come from? But I give credit to my musical training, because I just simulated exactly what I did into something else. And that technical skill really came very quickly. So if you guys are stuck, if you're lacking motivation, what I mean is, I highly advise you to take on something that is like high performance discipline, like, golf. Tennis is a very mental game. Anything that requires physical movement, that even running, if you want to train yourself and run a marathon, it takes a lot of mental preparation. It's kind of like music. The more you practice, the better you get. But the more you practice, the more you know how much you're lacking. And the breakthrough that I got in golf is that you could always strive for it, but you have to kind of let go. You have to have that humbleness about this sport. And I feel like this was what I was missing in music, is that I thought I had to be perfect, like winning every competition, like getting everything done. And I was achieving at a very, very high level, but what I was missing was I was not satisfied. So I was really mean to myself, right? And through golf, I got to practice being in the zone, like being here right now, not what I didn't do, what mistakes I did in the past hole, but like, okay, forget about that. Just be now. What can I do better? The next shot, and the next shot. And through that process over and over again, I learned to trust myself and trust the process. And oh my God, what if I did this in clarinet? You know, what if I don't have to be so stuck on perfection? What if I just play for fun in front of my friends? So going straight to my point, number 3 is the power of visualization, right? You have to have a vision. If you could see yourself doing something, you can absolutely do it, okay? So start visualizing, hey, what do I want to do with my music? What do I want to do with my life? Do I even want to be a musician? Maybe I could take all this like amazing musical skills to something else and become somebody. I got a huge breakthrough, a paradigm shift for myself when I actually got, aha, it's not about the result, but it's really about being in the moment and dealing with what's happening right now. That's going to give me the good result later, right? So just like, you know, everything is going great in the practice room. But then, you know, when I go to the concert, playing a recital or playing in an orchestra concert at school, how come I get so nervous and I mess up, right? I mean, where did all those practicing hours go? So through golf, I got a breakthrough in that, is that, oh my God, it's because I was so stuck on what happened before that I couldn't concentrate what's happening now that gave me the result that I got. So I deserved it because I wasn't paying attention to what was more important, which is happening right now. And the past is not going to come back. You could only prepare for the future. So sports psychology is so important. You know, I have a picture of this person bowing on stage. You guys, when before you play a concert, make sure you visualize how you're going to look on stage. If you could visualize every step in that, your performance you'll ace it because you've already been through that in your mind already. So you got it, right? All you have to do is step in and just have fun. Make a visual board. You have to take care of yourself and create, who am I? And I like to say, I'm energy, I'm fun, like I'm a doer, I could do this. I'm a leader, I want to be a leader to the younger people. So it's like you have to make these vision. Everybody has a different word that you associate with. Words are so powerful reinforcements to tell your brain what you're trying to accomplish each day. Who am I? You know, why am I in music? You know, what am I committed to accomplishing through music? All these questions you really should be asking yourself now, not when you're, you know, when I started doing, when I was like, whatever. Also tell yourself, what's my story I want to share through music? And since a lot of you guys are just starting out, you could write whatever story you want to write in your life, right? It's under your control. The page has not been written. You could write the story. You don't have to be at the mercy of anybody telling you. You know, that's why when you see young pop stars like Billie Eilish or like all these people that pop up that make it really big, it's because they believe in themselves. They know what they want to do and they just go for it. They don't have to get a degree or whatever. It's like they don't have time for that. They just have to go out there and like do what they would, show their passion, and these people are the stars. So I want to introduce this to you. This is very important. You guys should screenshot this and put it on the wall as well, because this is called a mirror work. And it's these empowering words that you should be telling yourself in front of a mirror, looking at yourself straight in the eye, okay? You have to say, I am fun, I am giving, I am confident, I am a doer, I'm courageous, I'm loving, I'm forgiving, I'm fearless, you know, I'm kind. Don't you think that's a better way? If you could, you know, to say this before you get on stage, rather than, oh my God, I hope I remember those notes. I hope I don't squeak. you have to pay attention to what you say to yourself, to how you treat yourself with your mind, okay? Because the better you are in your more high caliber you become as a classical musician, all people that are at the top, what I mean is, these are the people that should be thriving, but they actually kind of sabotage themselves, and because we get in our own way. Mirror work, reinforcing who you are in front of the mirror, looking at yourself, really generating the energy of, I'm fun, I'm gonna have a great time, I'm confident, I'm courageous, I'm gonna do this, I'm excited. I think we should leave out the word nervous. I don't know where that nervous word came from. It should be, even the teachers or the mothers, tell your mothers, don't tell me I'm nervous, are you nervous? Tell me, are you excited? Are you excited? Let's all change that word from, are you nervous, to, are you excited? Aren't you excited? Because that's what we are. Like, who told you you should be nervous? Like, we heard it somewhere along while we're growing up, and we just put it in here, it never went out. And, oh, maybe I should be nervous. If I'm not nervous, oh, what's wrong with me? I should be nervous. So the brain goes to like, what's wrong? The brain likes to go with what's wrong rather than the happy side, like what's possible. And this is the 80% part that we have to be working on right now for your future to be prosperous. It's the mindset. What's possible? Okay, we're really good at beating ourselves up, but what about the other side? Like I said, the 80% is more important in your outcome. Okay, so but again, I just want to say there is no shortcut in music to success. You have to practice. I mean, you practice. You have to. There is no wishing and hoping in music. Okay, the bottom line is you have to practice, plan out the details, visualize the bigger picture, and go for it. Practice, practice, practice. Do it again until you're satisfied. And this is that carrot that there is no arrival. Ta-da! You're perfect. There is no such thing. So the earlier you could give that up, the better you're gonna have. The better time you're gonna have playing music. Tip number 4: catch the voices in your head. Oh my God, this is like my favorite topic. Catch the voices in your head. Do you guys hear the voices in your head? I mean, if you be really, really quiet, you could actually hear the voices in your head. Like, oh, why did she stop talking? How come the thing is blue? I wonder what she's gonna say. Or why am I so tired after lunch? Why can't she stop talking? All these voices in your head, okay? And identify these voices and listen to what it's saying. For most of us, these voices become really loud when we're performing, when we're about to play for a teacher. These voices are the disempowering voices in your head, like fear, doubt, don't squeak. It's really sabotaging your own chances, right? And even if you do really well at certain things, sometimes you feel like an imposter because, oh, I don't always do that. It's only this time. So you kind of feel like an imposter. And I'm gonna leave that imposter thing for another topic, but you know what I'm talking about. There are these negative voices that in your head that drives you nuts, and it only comes out when it really matters, in an audition, when you have to play really well. And it took me a long time to identify this voice. And so you know what I did? I gave it a name. Her name is Susan. Susan is talking to me, okay? And she's always putting cloud over my bright day. And it's when, like I said, it only happens when I'm about to do something really exciting, and then the Susan's like, oh, but what if you mess up, and then I could catch this. I got so good at catching Susan talking. I kind of like, oh, you know what? Here you go again, telling me that I'm gonna mess up. You know what? I'm not gonna mess up because I'm gonna have fun. So I kind of talk to myself in a way. I mean, call me crazy, but as soon as I could identify this voice and labeled it so that I could have some more control, have some more peace of mind when I'm trying to do something amazing, so that I'm not always tripping over my own thoughts, right? So if everybody should if any of you have these kind of, do you guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah, raise your hand. Yeah. If you do have that moment, take a moment, name it, call it, I don't know, Jane. I don't know who it is, whatever it is, just name it, right? I go by Sunny, right? Even had to name Sunny just so that in my mind, Seunghee Lee it comes with so much baggage because, I had to grow up with this, people misspelling it, and my 8th grade teacher called me Seunghee the whole year, and I couldn't say a thing. So Sunny is my golf name. So after I became Sunny, I became like a totally different person. I became very powerful. I became confident. I became very talkative. I became like, I got this kind of personality. And in these two personalities, Sunny, I thank Susan. In hindsight, I thank Susan for getting me to this, like getting me to work hard. And I also thank Sunny for getting me this confidence that I had inside, because it's the same person. I'm the same person. Whoever I call myself is the same person. But it was like kind of buried inside me, so that in a way I kind of had to take on a different personality like Sunny to get that shiny personality out of myself, right? So whoever is dealing with this kind of thing, come talk to me privately. This is some topic that we could go deep in. I'm just gonna keep going. So yeah, tip number 5, believe in yourself. This is my last tip. I mean, everybody says this, right? Everybody says, oh, I've heard this before, believe in yourself. But you know what? Unless you believe in yourself, nothing's gonna happen. It's that 80% of the chart, okay? You could do all your practicing, perfectly and do all that. But if you don't believe in yourself, that being of, oh, I'm afraid, will come out on that 80%, and so all those hours of practicing will be nothing. Confidence comes from believing in yourself. Confidence is like this. You could have confidence just like that. You could have confidence. It doesn't take a long time to get confidence. You just have to say, hey, I'm gonna be confident today, no matter what. So it's like finding your way home. Even if you're out in Italy somewhere, you know how to get home, right? You've done this so many times that getting home is not a problem. You just have to find your way to the airport and get to the right and you're home. So what if you could treat that as practicing too, like music as well, right? If you've done all the work and you know it like back of your hand, then you know how to get home. Trust me, you know how to figure it out. If you're a musician, you could solve any kind of problems, because if we could solve those, how to play those complicated notes, I mean, this is like problem solving to the maximum. If you're a musician, you could figure it out. If we could play the darn hard clarinet and make it sound beautiful, you can figure out anything. So trust yourself and trust in your process, the hard work that you put in. Focus on the process now, not the result that you're gonna be having later, okay? And this is where a lot of people fall into the trap. They just wanna win, they just wanna get the job, they just wanna make it, they just wanna win. That they're not really focusing on your playing now. It's like chamber music. You have to listen to other people. You have to create together in the moment right now, not looking at the scoreboard like, am I gonna win? And mastery, artistry, winning comes naturally if you focus on what's happening right now, okay? And then you'll have arrived at your destination, right? So this is a new look at education. Asian girl growing up, my mom is always like, you gotta be number one. Even I was a biology major because my mom wanted me to be a doctor, right? So it's always like being number one, doing my best, getting straight A's and getting to the right school, but yeah, that's a hope and wishing, sure, that's great, but like, I'm only this, right? And so, but then somewhere along the line, like, I don't know where it comes from, but that competition gets in the way, right? We become so competitive that it's like it takes the best of us. So in music, we have to unlearn the competitive nature of classical music, because music is really not about competition. Music is about giving beauty to the world, and we have to keep enjoying and performing music the way you envision it, not a competition, right? And it's just so sad that we see so many people winning competitions here and there, and you feel like that's what you need to do because they feature that on TV or on social media. It's like, it's all about the winner. But I think that's very short-sighted, and we are losing so many people because we put so much emphasis on the competition part of it, and it's really not what music is about. And I figured this out much later in my life. And like I said, I took some time off from music, but I missed it. Like, why am I missing it? Music like abandoned me. I had nowhere to fit in with my clarinet. But ultimately, I found my heart was calling out to keep playing the clarinet. Why is that? And it's you know, I don't want to get into my personal story, but something happened in my life where I realized, oh my God, you know, I love music. Music is what really got me through some hard times in my life. And therefore, I started picking up the music and really started playing for myself, for my family, for my father, and started creating these amazing recordings. And it just came straight from my heart, right? And that's when I realized, oh my God, this is what music is about. It's not a competition. Why was I so stuck on competition? Who cares? Who cares what, like, who remembers who won that competition a few years ago? It's not about that. It's about, like, you know, what kind of difference you make to the next person, to your parent, to the next person around you with the beauty that you bring through the music. So, you know, ask yourself, why am I doing music? Why do I love music so much? Now, do I need to love music? Maybe I love something else. You know, really ask these questions to yourself. And when you get there, embrace yourself. You are enough, you know, and everyone has a story to tell. You guys are at such a great place right now that you get to write your own novel. You get to write your whole movie about yourself right now, and you're the creator. And your imperfections are what's gonna make your story so unique and important. Who likes like a perfect, those things are over. That's like pre-COVID. Like those perfect things are over. Now it's all about the raw, real, like, what are you doing now? You know, it's about like people, you know, getting on camera with no makeup and just like t-shirt and whatever, you know. It's about the reality. And these imperfections are what makes you really unique. And when you're performing, think of your audience as your mirror. Like I know you mean to do well, and so if you're like nervous, oh, I want to do well, that's what you're actually giving to the audience for them to listen to. So if you're kind of like nervous and sad, then that's what you're giving to the audience. If you're like angry at somebody, like, then that's what you're giving to the audience. So when you walk on that stage, before you walk on that stage, kind of contemplate, like, why am I doing this? What is this for? Is there one person that you want to dedicate this to? Dedication is so great because it goes beyond yourself. It's not about you. You know, it involves you. You have to play the instrument, but it's not about you. So it kind of frees you up. It kind of gives you this, oh, it's not, you know, you don't put so much pressure on yourself because you're giving it it's a gift, right, to somebody. And so if you could play your heart out, and if you love it, then people will love it. And that's where you're going to get all these applause, and people are going to love all the work you do because you're being authentic with you're not trying to copy somebody. You're not trying to like show off, you know, whatever. Nobody cares. And it's about being authentic, being okay with your mistakes. And last thing is, don't forget to celebrate. Really enjoy and treat yourself once you've done a really, really good job. And achieving mastery is like, first you have to find your own voice, and then that'll lead you to mastery. Before that, it's all technical. It's once you can get to that point of authenticity, that's when you could search for mastery and artistry, and listening to your inner voice. That's what's going to make you very unique and individual. Benefits of having musical training is this. If you could be master of one thing, like music, you could be jack of all trades. If you could learn one thing extremely well, like music, you could apply the same work ethic into anything comes your way. You could even become a CEO of a company, you know, because it's about figuring things out. You know how to figure things out. Don't shortchange yourself, okay? There are no boundaries other than the one you set for yourself. You can really achieve anything you put your mind to if you could be open to it. If you could allow yourself to be that great, because you are. You know, you just like putting a lid, oh, no, I'm not that. No, you know, eventually you're going to hope you remember this talk. And when you get to the point, I hope, you know, take the lid off yourself and just like, you know, launch yourself into somebody amazing. It doesn't only have to be music. Like I said, I wish people could take on more executive roles in music institutions and really take the, you know, these leadership roles in like orchestras and places like that where they really need your true heart and you know, love for music. So oh my God, I went way over, but thank you. let's stay in touch. And this is my handle. Please follow me. I follow everybody. So Sunny Clarinet, Clarinet Sheet Music, and I've seen many of you on Instagram. So I hope we all, check each other out. So that's it for me. I'm gonna hand it over to you for a 2-minute question.
I have a question.